The Whispering Voice at Night. This is a story from Brazil. People say you should never answer when someone calls your name at night. Why? Because the one calling you might not be human. Ricardo Alves lived in a quiet town outside São Paulo. Far from the noise of the city, his home was peaceful. Right behind his house was a dense forest. People called it Mata da Sombra, the shadowed forest. Nobody went near it after dark, but Ricardo didn't believe in that kind of thing. He had grown up in the city, where ghosts and legends were just stories to scare kids. One night, he was standing on his balcony, smoking a cigarette. The wind was cool. The night was still. Then he heard it. Ricardo. A whisper drifting through the air. He froze. Someone was calling his name. Software almost too soft. Who's there? He turned to look toward the trees, and under the pale moonlight, something was standing at the edge of the forest. The next morning, Ricardo told his friend Luis about it. I heard someone call my name last night. Luis's face went pale. You didn't answer, did you? Number. I thought it was some idiot playing a prank, but when I went to check, no one was there. Luis let out a breath. Good. You were lucky. Ricardo frowned. Why? In Brazil, we have a saying. If someone calls your name at night, never answer. That's just superstition. Luis lowered his voice. Not if the thing calling you wasn't human. That night, Ricardo stood on his balcony again. The breeze was cool. The forest was dark. And then, Ricardo. His blood ran cold. Again. Closer this time. Who's there? The words slipped from his mouth before he could stop them, and the moment he spoke, something moved in the trees. Ricardo's heart pounded. A shadow stepped out from the darkness. It had a shape like a man, but it wasn't. Its limbs were too long. Its body was too thin. Its face was swallowed by the night. But somehow, Ricardo knew. It was smiling. Step, step. It moved toward him, soundless. The wind had stopped. Nothing stirred. Then, from right behind him, Ricardo. The next morning, Luis went to Ricardo's house. The front door was wide open. The house was empty. A half-smoked cigarette sat on the balcony railing, untouched. It was as if Ricardo had been standing there and vanished. Luis turned to look at the forest. It was quiet, but he knew. Ricardo was gone, because he had answered, and whatever had called him had taken him away.